Is Paris worth visiting for the second time? You've seen the Eiffel Tower, marvel at the Louvre, and soak up the bohemian charm of Montmartre. And you are thinking, now what?
Look at this, wow.
Well, you just scratched the surface. Paris is a living and breathing city that only gets richer and more complex with time, like a fine wine. Of course, there are still plenty more things to do, see, and enjoy. On my recent return to Paris, I dived deeper and discovered new layers of the city beyond the usual tourist trail. I also tried some of the most popular things to do in Paris, and I'll be sharing my honest take on those. Whether it's your first time or you've been to Paris many times, I hope this video helps you fall in love with the city all over again. First things first, let's talk about pre-travel logistics real quick. I often take red-eye flights to Europe. Over the years, I've learned one thing for sure. Investing in comfy travel essentials like this pillow is a total game changer. I haven't made a whole video dedicated to this, so check that out, the link's in the description. Once you land at the airport, you have a few options to get to the city center. And the laziest and the most hassle-free one is to grab a cab right from the airport. You will pay a flat rate, so you're not being ripped off, and that is always a nice feeling when you are a foreigner in a new place. Let's just switch gears and talk about where we stayed. Usually, my husband and I aim for around 200 euros a night for hotels in Europe, and we budget another 200 to 300 euros for everything else, like food, exploring, a little shopping, and getting around. Last time in Paris though, we stayed in the 4th and 5th districts, which went a little bit over our usual spend. So this time around, we found these small studios on Airbnb in the 10th and 7th. Honestly, I wasn't sure if the 10th would be too far out. And it turns out, it was such a walkable, vibrant, and safe area, and literally just a stop or two on the subway to the main attractions. Our second spot was very close to the Eiffel Tower. Being able to walk to the Eiffel Tower was amazing, and the area was packed with cafes, restaurants, and markets. I'll link those two Airbnbs in the description if you're interested. Okay, enough with the practicality. Let's get the vacation started already, shall we? Here we are in Paris! Our first stop is Paris Opera House. Did you know the Paris Opera House was the inspiration of the Phantom of the Opera? Phantom of the Opera. Whether this century-old building is actually haunted or not is anyone's guess. But what's really noteworthy about this place is the incredibly rich and lavish architecture and interior decorations. It's as if France wanted to declare their dominance in art and culture to the world, and undoubtedly they succeeded with the Opera House.
The ceiling painting is done by Chagall, and it's so beautiful.
There is a lot to learn about every painting and sculpture in this building, so I highly recommend booking a guided tour. That was a very informative tour, full of little anecdotes. Definitely want to come back and actually watch an opera or ballet. Book your tickets in advance on their website. Tickets get sold out quickly. How do you like your shoes so far? What count? Yeah, it's really supportive. Yeah, the wide. Okay, so day one of any international adventure for me is all about one thing: battling that jet lag. That's why, even though we were in Paris with all its amazing French food, we decided to take it easy and chill out at this awesome Korean barbecue spot. Sometimes you just need that familiar comfort food after a long flight, right? But if you're still judging me, we're in Paris, so c'est la vie. We'll get to the croissants later. Day 2 in Paris. That was a Parisian pigeon feasting on baguette. Today, we are going all Parisian. Nothing screams Parisian more than sitting at a bistro terrace with a cup of coffee while slightly judging and watching people passing by. Don't get me wrong, I love French. This hurry breakfast was such a great idea because the next thing we did was the VR experience of Notre-Dame. And who knew a virtual experience would involve lugging around a physical computer and a headset that weighed around 4 kilograms. The future is full of contradictions, but also full of possibilities. This VR tour rocked. I've done a few VR experiences, but this one was by far the most elaborate and fantastical. I guess the fact that it combined such a traditional history with new technologies might have elevated the whole experience even more. Wow, it was fantastic. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect, but oh my god, this was by far the best VR experience I've had. Wow,
you explained it was so cool. Like,
even if Notre-Dame is open to public, I think you have to do this in addition to visiting Notre-Dame because you get to be everywhere. Don't take my word for it. See for yourself. I'll link this tour in the description box below. While we were still in the Ile de la Cité, forgive me if I'm pronouncing it wrong, we checked out 2 other major attractions, the Sainte-Chapelle and the Concierge. But before I take you there, here are some practical tips you want to know. You can buy a bundle ticket for both Sainte-Chapelle and Concierge. You will get a little discount with the bundle, and with the timed entry, you don't need to stay in line too long, like the people who didn't buy the ticket in advance or who didn't watch my video. Let's just start with the Sainte-Chapelle. Looks much more modest compared to Notre-Dame. I immediately had to take back the modest comment once I learned that this chapel was exclusively for royalty. Sure, the scale might be smaller than Notre-Dame, but having your own private chapel, that's the definition of pure luxury. Wow! Having seen a few Gothic chapels, I can honestly say Sainte-Chapelle is right up there. Particularly, the sheer beauty and the breathtaking scope of these stained glass windows make the chapel truly extraordinary. Of course, we couldn't live without grabbing some souvenirs adorned with those royal emblems to remember such a visit. Now, let's move on to the Concierge, which is located right next to the chapel.
Les aristocrates, on les pendra!
Yep, that place. Did I say I love French? As the brilliant opening ceremony of the Paris Olympics says it all, the Concierge is historically such a significant landmark where Marie Antoinette was imprisoned for 76 days before her execution during the French Revolution. Inside the building, it's pretty much a blank space now, but you can use your phone and turn on the augmented reality feature to be transported back in time. It used to be looking like this. This is where soldiers used to eat. People from the past ate much better than we did now. No processed food. Speaking of food, our stomachs started rumbling. There were only a handful of restaurants in this island, and we grabbed a bite right across from the Concierge. The food was okay and the service was fine, but honestly, nothing to write home about. So, when a pigeon decided to join the party, we knew it's time to leave without finishing the meal. After this disappointing meal, we had to win at a dessert. So we hopped over to Mie, allegedly the best boulangerie in Paris. And did it live up to the hype? So we're back in the Airbnb and we got a bunch of stuff from the Boulangerie Creative. We got cheesecake, passion fruit, raspberry cake, raspberry croissant, praline croissant, and more. This looks impressive, but actually tastes pretty good too. This croissant wasn't just an Instagram prop, it was a real deal. Their pastries sell out quickly, so get here early. Alright, we just made it. Whew. Day 3. We're going to Monet's house! Claud Monet, the absolute godfather of Impressionism, lived in this charming little village right outside of Paris, called Giverny.
Look at this tiny window.
Right here, in these very gardens and inside this house, he created some of his most iconic works. So stepping inside is like literally walking into his masterpiece.
I'm about to enter the Monet's house. I can't wait.
As a total art nerd, I couldn't help but geek out about this whole experience.
This is where the magic happened.
All the paintings here are replicas, but they were hung in the exact way how Monet once displayed them. Isn't that something?
All of these are replicas, not original.
Visitors are allowed to explore more rooms upstairs, including the master bedroom.
The room has plenty of lights. It's filled with lights.
My absolute favorite in the house was the kitchen. I mean, look at it.
This is my dream dining room. I loved touring Monet's house. It was full of color, full of lights, full of love, full of beauty, and there weren't many people inside, and I can tell like there were more and more people now lining up. The garden is beautiful, but you know, seriously, if you're a fan of Monet, you definitely want to take a look at his actual house. It shows how he lived, how he worked.
While completely smitten by Monet's house, we continued our tour at the gift shop.
I wonder if this was an actual, like, also part of the house, like some kind of a barn or something, or maybe they added it later.
Turns out, this was also a studio that Monet used for huge paintings, such as the lily pond. And here's a quick tip. You will need to exit through the gift shop no matter where you end up. So make the purchase at the end, so you don't have to carry things around with you. Trust me, you're most likely to get a lot of souvenirs here.
Uh-oh. How much did we spend?
$200-something.
After taking many photos in this beautiful garden, we decided to explore the town for the rest of the afternoon. Here, I got a burger with roasted pepper and some Normandy cheese.
Good trip.
It's like a cold tomato soup sandwich.
And strong olive oil. Very delicious.
We toured around more gardens and went to the Museum of Giverny. It had a special exhibition.
The museum was pretty nice. We learned how important this region is to Impressionism.
To find out more about the logistics of making this day trip, check out my video that I will link in the description. Day 4.
So we are back here at the Braise Cafe. They really make the crepe to the next level. So we are back here again. So let's go check out the menu.
If you're asking what's our all-time favorite and must-have food in Paris, I would say the buckwheat crepes called galette. Since I was pregnant at the time, I had to order the vegan option, and boy, they did not disappoint. But if over-easy eggs, unpasteurized cheese, and cured meat is not your concern, I highly recommend ordering this and that. And if you have a room, finish the meal with a dessert galette like this one with rhubarb.
I like the texture. It's like celery-like texture, but sweet and tart and sour. Very nice. It's in France, Coaster City. And we think that the photo must be from that city.
You should come here hungry so you can try several kinds of crepes. Once we were fed and happy, it was time to feed our soul with some modern art. Sure, the Louvre and Musée d'Orsay are the magnets for classic art lovers, but don't you want something edgy to shake up your artwork? Bourse Museum was once a cold-hearted stock market place, but now it's a fun playground for the weird and wonderful contemporary artist.
Bought 2 tickets and then going in.
And here's a heads up. Take advantage of the complimentary guided tour. The English tour runs twice a day at 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. In this museum, you'll find some familiar names such as Jeff Koons, but also discover new artists who are pushing the boundaries. For example, I was pleasantly surprised to discover these clay sculptures called Suddenly This Overview. These unpretentious clays took me right back to my childhood in Korea. It was like finding a long-lost friend in an art gallery in Paris. And this is the reason why I want to keep coming back to Paris. Speaking of which, this museum surprised me once again with a fine cafe/restaurant on the top floor. The view was nice, the staff were very professional. I mean, look at how they serve coffee here.
Shall I? Yes.
We were really impressed with the overall quality of the cafe. I'm sure we'll be back to this museum and cafe next time we're in Paris. Day 5. It's our last full day in Paris, and we've saved 2 of the city's most popular things to do for last. The majestic Versailles and a romantic dinner cruise on the Seine.
So we are in front of the Versailles. Wow, it is grand. It is huge.
Did you know that more than 25,000 people visit Versailles every single day? That's a staggering 10 million people a year. And with just a quick 30-minute train ride from Paris, it's no wonder it's such a popular destination.
Full of mirrors.
But here's my honest, maybe a little controversial take. I found Versailles a little bit overrated.
19 children were born here in this room. OMG.
Beyond showcasing the absolute height of the French monarchy, it didn't resonate with the same historical or cultural significance as, say, the Louvre.
It's like, if you know, I mean, it would be good to know some French history before you come, so you can totally recognize each paintings. And I honestly I don't know much about French or history.
That being said, I loved exploring the gardens of Versailles. I honestly wish I had dedicated more time to exploring outside of the palace.
This is what Louis used to enjoy when he did his lunch walk.
So, should you go to Versailles? Yes, probably. But go in knowing it might be more about the spectacle than deep historical immersion. And definitely prioritize those incredible gardens to make the most of your visit.
That's a lot of information to take in. So we are taking a little break. Oh, the lobby smells really good.
Alright, next up, a dinner cruise on the Seine.
Wow, that's Eiffel Tower. Now we are on our way to the dinner cruise.
Okay, I'm not typically a dinner cruise type, but any excuse to spend more time on the Seine, the very heart of Paris, as we all saw during the Olympics, then I'm in. On my first trip to Paris, I did one of those daytime guided boat tours, so this time around, I figured I'd give the popular dinner cruise a shot.
I bought tickets in advance on Get Your Guide. Let's get a seat first.
So, was it worth the cost? Honestly, it felt a little overpriced. Was the food amazing? It was okay. It is something what you would expect from a large-scale catering operation. How about the entertainment? So, was it a tourist trap? Maybe a little. With all that said, guess what? I actually really enjoyed it. I mean, cruising along the Seine as beautifully lit Eiffel Tower twinkling in the night sky, that magic never gets old. It was also such a lovely way to wrap up my second trip to Paris. And you know what? Next time we are in Paris, We'll be a family of 3 and we'll definitely be doing another river cruise. Even knowing it's a tourist thing to do, I know that we'll create another unforgettable memory together. That's all I have for today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe. I have more videos coming your way. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in my next destination.